right. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Forecast Podcast, where we talk about everything that went on in the past and everything going on now to forecast the future, how we want to live. So, I'm your host, Joey.
It's your boy, Gumby.
I'm Reshea.
And I'm Jelly.
Hey.
She's finally on camera. Oh my God.
Yay.
So,
Cheers.
and by the way, for you guys, if there's any topic that you want to hear us talk about, hit us up on our socials down below in the description. You know, we're not hard to find, we're not hard to reach. And or just talk in the comment, hit us in the comments or hit us on the DMs and let us know what you want us to talk about. And if we see it, we will.
Don't hit me in the DMs. I ain't gonna see that shit.
All right, so I was about to clap. Today, I'm doing better. I'm doing better. Cool. We're getting over old habits. Right. Today's topic is going to be everyone's favorite topic for the last year and a half. If you've been on social media, if you have an Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, anything, then you know about cancel culture. So today, let's get into cancel culture. Before we get into the deep part of it, let's talk about culture itself. Let's define it. You know, when you know what you're talking about, it's easier to have the conversation. So culture is defined as an umbrella term and encompasses social behaviors and norms found in human societies. This includes the knowledge, beliefs, arts, laws, customs, capabilities, and habits of the individuals within certain groups. So if you want to break it all the way down, what culture is basically the accepted habits and ideas amongst individuals. So now that we know what culture is, how does cancel culture make its way into culture? Can anyone start us off today with the workings of cancel culture in the new generation? Let's get into it. How y'all feeling about that cancel culture?
CC, and I ain't talking closed caption. It's crazy.
I mean, I think with cancel culture making its way into like regular culture, I think it probably started off with the need for someone to actually be, you know, for lack of a better term, canceled. And then I think it started off as accountability. I think it started off as accountability, and then it ended up becoming like a pop term of cancel culture, where instead of we're going to hold this person accountable for what it is that they did, whatever crimes that they did, like when the Me Too movement came out and all those things, and we're going to start holding these people accountable for what they did, it started becoming more of what consequences they're going to have, and the consequence being canceling whatever luxury they were used to having, whether fans, work, you know, whatever it is. I think that's when it shifted from finding out a person did something and we're going to hold this person accountable into finding out somebody did something and then finding our own way to punish them via cutting off their resources. And because it's been happening mainly in entertainment culture or entertainment industry, a way to do that is to basically not support them anymore. And I think that's how, and then because there are so many shady people that were getting away with so much for so long in the entertainment industry, and still are, that it just became a part of the culture to where if anybody does anything even a little bit wrong, then in come the culture sharks to start cutting stuff up. So that's how I think it ended up going from just it becoming a part of the culture.
It's like the basically the social media era of like, you did this to me, so now I gotta get you. Or what can we, especially in the entertainment, what can we find for him not to be or it can be, what can we find for him not to be this person because we don't really care for this person too. So it's like so many blurred lines with cancel culture. And it's like, so what is cancel culture? When is it taken too far? And like, like, just what is it? Because it's like so many blurred lines. It's like, oh, she said this way back when, let's bring it back up. But we supposed to be a progressive society, and we supposed to like help each other grow, but yet we'll go back in your past and be like, oh, remember when you did this? It's like, yo, I'm not the same person that I used to be. So it's like, how can we get past this cancel culture as well?
I feel like cancel culture sometimes, like, I get where people are coming from with it, but also with cancel culture, it's also dangerous because you want to. Cancel culture is also, if you don't really think about it, it's also like networking, because you're putting the people's name out there, the person that you want to cancel. And suppose somebody never heard of this person or whatever, they're gonna look at their catalog and see what they're about and who they are. And guess what? That's another stream on their playlist or on their music. That's another view on their videos or whatever. So, thing about cancel culture, you gotta be, it's a hit or miss, because at the end of the day with cancel culture, what do you gain from trying to cancel somebody? Like, what do you personally gain from what it is? If they did something major, then it's totally understandable. To me personally, it's totally understandable. But also, you have to be careful because, well, either way, even if you do it, it's still networking to an extent. You're putting the person's name out there, which is going to broaden their audience. You know, it might be like one artist that they did something, and then next you know, somebody who never heard them, like I said, they listen to their music, and then they'd be like, oh, why did I check them out at first? It doesn't matter. Their music, I like their music.
I'd agree, because there are a lot of times where I'd look and be like, oh, so-and-so is being canceled. And I'm like, who is so-and-so? And then now I have to look up who so-and-so is, what it is that they did. And then, you know, you just fall into this rabbit hole of like who they are. And then, it just kind of ends up kind of promoting that person, and unless they did something completely like heinous.
Almost like it's counterproductive sometimes.
Right.
I think cancel culture as a whole, it runs, how can I say this? It sounds like cancel culture runs on the machine of not so much ignorance, but of like willful reaction. And I say willful reaction because when you go out of your way to cancel someone, it's not just as simple, oh, they did something I don't like, and thus I have an opposing stance, because that would be something as simple as an opposing stance. As far as what I've grown to know about the social term or action of canceling someone, as we've said today alone, you have to go through the vetting process of finding this person, of doing proper personal research, even if it is Instagram, innovation, and you're using your thumbs to get in there, but still you have to go and do your own research. You have to come to your own conclusions. You have to cross-reference things. And although we don't see it this way, we may not, because it's so popular and it's a social thing. This is what has to happen for, maybe not all, but from what it sounds like, this is what has to happen for the majority of people to be able to just at least make their stance, even within the small reaction of canceling someone. Mm-hmm. If you go on Twitter today and see that someone's canceled for something, within an hour, 2 hours, you'll have decided whether they're canceled or not. And that's more than just he did X, Y, and Z, whatever. It's like and then you politic about it, and then we talk to people about it, and then we meme about it, and then we, so cancel culture itself it's I'm not saying it's not necessary, but the entire situation seems like it's like even the people who play into it, they know that like there's probably a better way of handling this, but because I am where I am now, this is the way it should be handled, and thus the cancellation, Mm-hmm. So ultimately I see the importance of accountability. Mm-hmm. I see the importance of accountability no matter what industry you're in. It needs to be held, especially the older you get and the more professional and the more influence you have. Accountability is a must. I personally feel like reaching back on things is, as Reshea said, is not really progressive. But maybe the question needs to be like you said, at where do we draw the line? Maybe not like a statute of limitations, but where do we draw the line at reaching back to hold people accountable for certain things? Because honestly, if you're not reaching back, then we can talk about how to respond better to things. But it seems like a lot of cancel culture is mostly reaching back. So, but that's where I am with cancel culture in a general sense.
I feel like there should be like a criteria to the for this. Like there should definitely be a criteria for this, because we've seen so many people get like things taken away just because of something they did in their past, and people are not thinking about like what was the past like, or what we had to go through to even get to this. Because I know for us millennials, like we had to break so many barriers to talk about mental health, to talk about homosexuality, just even for the Black community, just to say it, or even talk about sexuality in general. So it's like things that we've said in the past that was our culture, and now as a culture we're coming up, but people still going, oh, but you said this back then. But if you looked at our culture, that was our culture. We had to learn from it and we had to grow from it. So are they going to take in consideration that's where we were, or no?
Like with Kevin Hart.
That's what I'm thinking about, because I was like, yo, like that was our culture. Like it was tough growing up, especially me having a homosexual friend in high school. Everybody knew who he was, but some people treated him different, or some people didn't, or some guys didn't speak to him because they knew he was gay, and because of that they didn't want to be associated with him. So it was like, even they was like, oh yeah, he's in the locker room, oh my god. I'm like, he ain't looking at y'all, y'all ain't nothing, like he ain't even looking at y'all. So it's like how, like, because of that, it's like we were so afraid and scared, and we couldn't talk about it, and we were beat. My friend, he got kicked out. One of my other friends got kicked out his house when he came out. So it was like really hard, and for men, Black men in general, like, yo, we have historically been triggered not to be this way, historically, like all of that. So it's like you are making him to be this awful person, but that was in our past, because as a whole, that's where we were. That's how we thought about things. And now, since we just broke the barrier, that's where we are now. And so, like, y'all really made this man apologize about how he was years prior, but not who he is now. And that's not fair.
Well, speaking on, so cancel culture is something that's not going away, know? For sure. So, like, do you guys think that cancel culture would have survived in a previous generation? Everybody, like people who participate in cancel culture, they're quick to point the finger. Like they're God's gift to earth and they've never done anything wrong in their lives. I'm pretty sure everybody has that one moment where they're by themselves and then they think about something they did probably 10 years ago and they're like, why did I do that?
Damn, I fucked up.
It's like those embarrassing moments we have, but then like if a celebrity does it, they're quick to crucify them.
Like, I think that each generation kind of had like their own version of canceling, like, I mean, I wasn't around at the time, so all I have are TVs to go by, where, there's that one woman who's just loose with the men, and all the housewives know it, and they don't invite her to the parties because they don't want her around their good husbands, and they don't want the single woman around their husbands and tempting their husbands, and so they like in a way cancel her from society. But on this scale of what we see today, because of how more interconnected we are, I don't know.
So would you say like it's pretty much like also like with insecurities because of that, or?
I would say like the scale, like I would say that goes on along with the scale of
Got you.
people's reach and influence that the reasons were more internal than external for a previous generation's version of canceling, and now that, we're able to communicate with different reaches of the world through social media, these celebrities are recognized in other countries than their own, that it's more external as far as what it is that they're doing. It's still in a sense moral based, as opposed to, oh, this person's sleeping around, or it's definitely gotten less conservative along with society.
Facts.
So it's like, if there's like a celebrity that's like sleeping around, or a person that's like sleeping around, like that's not worthy of being canceled.
Oh, next.
Okay, but it's starting to tackle more serious issues that are more like externally judged, as opposed to like internally, like, oh, I'm insecure because I don't want this, single woman tempting my husband. It's like, oh, this person like sexually assaulted somebody or said something that was racist or something like that. And, and the scale of the damage that can be done is a lot bigger, which makes it more dangerous if used improperly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm writing this down because I gotta hit these points really quick. What's the first one you said? Cancel culture. Okay, so there we go. First thing, my first question is, so we're talking about cancel culture, yes?
Yes.
That's the episode title.
Just to clarify, not only for me but for the viewers, when we say cancel culture, we're referring not only to the phenomenon in this generation that is cancel culture, but the overall umbrella that is canceling someone and the culture that follows it. Yes?
Well, what Joe had asked was, would something like the cancel culture that we know now survive in another generation?
Okay.
And then that's when I said, like, I believe that kind of each generation kind of had their own version of canceling.
Okay, so yeah, no, I agree with that. I just wanted to make sure that like what the topic was, so I didn't misconstrue where I'm going with this. So yes, I agree with that. The book I was thinking was The Scarlet Letter, how the lady got ousted from the community because she had the Scarlet Letter. So that being an example of canceling someone in a historical sense, or of course the racial situation, the national situation. But I think cancel culture now, or back then, yes. I think it did exist because, but it was a different, the game was played different. It was more checkers than it was chess. Because like you said, now, since there's more connectivity, the judgment, it has to be external now because there are so many eyes, there are so many people around us, so many mentalities, religions, creeds, ideas that and so many ways for us to connect with each other, that you doing the internal work is now only half the battle. Back in the day, you could possibly not see another human for 6 months because the world is so big. So it would only be you and your community, no matter how big that is, that basically is your whole life, which could be a total of 30 people in your town of whatever. But now it's like, 30 people is like your inbox now. Like the world is full of billions of people. And so the judgment, you judging yourself low key is not enough when you know there's so many other opportunities to make life happen, so on and so forth. So I agree with the internal judge thing. But I think ultimately cancel culture, it in the past, because of the hierarchy of humans, religion was the top, and if it wasn't religion, it was like the monarchy, like the king, so like when it came to cancel culture, it was a survival thing, low key. At the end of the day, like if you open your mouth the wrong way, like we're ending your life, or we're taking your ability away to farm, which is everything back in the day. So cancel culture at that point was kind of like it's the king's way. lest we not eat. So I to answer your question, yeah, I do think cancel culture did definitely exist back in the day. And then of course when it came to the conversations between art and conversations between religion, or just overall, like Socrates and the theologians, or even Da Vinci and the artists, like both of those branches of thinking are going to cause people to look at themselves, to have to make hard decisions and ask hard questions. And then there are going to be those who look crazy and those who say certain things. And it's like, well, what do you mean women have rights? What is this? What? Yo, can't get him out of here. The next time you come in here talking about women, yo, I will. You know what? Yeah.
I just watched that movie.
Right, like that's
like the Enola Holmes movie.
Oh yeah.
Because they was trying to kill the kid. Like her love interest. They tried to kill him because he was about like women's rights, and her mom was like. They really tried to kill him.
About it,
yeah, like they wasn't about it, and that's like they was basing this off history. Like they wasn't about it. So yes, I think in other generations they had a certain way to counsel someone. Even if you read the Bible, when women had their periods, they had to walk around saying.
Back then, when they canceled you, they canceled your life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And for that week or whatever, if you're on your monthly, like you had to go away from people and say that you're unclean.
And it seems like when you cancel people these days, it's like you're trying to do what you can to chop them at the knees. Because back in the day, to cancel your reputation was to literally cancel everything you have. Because if we can't trust you, you can't make food for yourself because you can't work. But these days, like your reputation can be rebuilt over time. So what chops you at the knees? Your resources, like you said, your money or your connections. Because your reputation is a matter of, it was a fake video, or a matter of, well, they threw it out in court. So your reputation, I'm saying that's it, or it got expunged. Next thing you know,
Right.
That's nothing. So it's nothing to do that. So when you really truly cancel someone, it can no longer just be, oh well, he's da-da-da. It has to be like we have to make it so everyone agrees that you are no longer to be trifled with.
I will say the good thing about cancel culture is like holding people accountable. Like if we use it the right way, like we're gonna get it like R. Kelly.
Yep.
We as children, we've been saying to our parents that are like our parents, not us millennials, was trying to tell the older generation, this man did it. We knew how to search the web.
You knew since 89.
We saw the damn video.
Al Gore's internet doesn't lie.
So we were saying this for years, but and of course with our culture, with the black culture, because I'm black, with the black culture, it was like y'all fast ass girls, and that's what we had to deal with. Because that was all our culture. And it was like,
Right,
no.
so don't blame the grown adult man. Blame the teenage girl.
That's not developed in the head yet. Like, that's not there yet. It's like she thinks it's an opportunity. And so he manipulates her to think that she's doing something good.
Right.
But no, like he needed to be canceled. Him, and what was the other guy?
Juicy Smouye.
No. The guy that was messing with the kids.
Weinstein?
Yeah, he needed to go.
Definitely.
He had a whole ring.
Laundry list.
Boy got a
Right.
whole movie script.
That's why he's not here no more.
Whoa.
Because he knew too much.
Knew too much.
Man's got a list longer than the Lord of the Rings credits.
For real. So it's like, I feel like some of these things needs to be talked about. They need to be held accountable because every time he went to court, he dropped a new single, and then guess what? Guess who forgot?
Everybody.
Exactly. And then for real, y'all, like he's stealing girls.
Nobody knew that he was like dealing with courts and everything when he dropped the Ignition remix.
And y'all, that was
blew
like
mind.
my
to
favorite
this
song,
day.
and now I feel so bad that was used to be my favorite song.
I didn't find that out till like the documentary last year.
Same.
when I saw that part, I stopped. Like, I paused it, and I was just sitting there like, you really. Nobody knew he was going through. Whatever.
Because as children, we're not watching the news like that. We don't know. We watching MTV, VH1.
Yeah.
Like we don't know. Like our parents probably knew and ain't said nothing, or they didn't see it either.
They were playing the song just like we were.
Right.
He just happened to release one of the most well-known songs of our time. Like, you know that song front to back.
I do.
Every verse, every chorus, every ad-lib.
I do. Dang.
So I completely agree with you, Shay, when you say that accountability still needs to be there. But like, let's say for instance, I sent a video to everyone a while ago, and there was one cancel topic that I did want to talk about. It's been a minute, but the hashtag cancel Korea that got really, really bad not too long ago. So for those that may not know, like a gist of the story, it started when TikTok star Bella Poarch.
It's not gonna be good.
There you go. So she's a Hawaii-based Filipino. Posted a clip of her dancing, exposing a prominent rising sun tattoo on her arm. Okay. The tattoo grew criticisms from Korean TikTok users. One asked Bella whether she knew the meaning of the rising sun symbol, and she said that she was inspired by Jin Ako, who's an American singer who once reportedly had the same tattoo, until she covered it with a depiction of a dragon. Right?
Wait, Janae Aiko?
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Has the same tattoo?
She had the Japanese rising sun tattoo and got it covered. So, because she wasn't educated on the history of what this symbol was,
Ignorance.
Koreans then started to use derogatory terms, calling her dark, meaning it in a derogatory way, chalking it up, saying, oh, well, all Filipinos, of course she would know, they're uneducated, they're poor, they're dirty, wow, and all this other stuff. And then in response to the Korean, in general, so like the royal Korean response to Bella's situation, Filipinos then created hashtag cancel Korea, and then it just ended up being it just ended up being a whole mess, because instead of it being about let's educate this person so she knows what it is that she actually has tattooed on her body, it ended up becoming it got really racial really fast. Really fast. It went from, oh, well, I got this, tattoo because I was inspired by this other person who got it, but I don't really know what it means, or I don't know the symbolism of it. I got it from an idea from this other person. And the people who were offended by that went straight into attacking her culture and her looks and getting really racial really fast. And then in response to that level of a response, the Filipinos went right back to it and say, oh, well, Koreans are this.
They was like, they could never. I was like, yo.
See, that's the thing about it. It's like, don't just attack the person that got the tattoo. You don't know if they don't. Like, first things first, never get anything permanently marked on your body if you don't even know the meaning or the story behind it. Number one. That's common sense. But number two is that fact that if you see somebody with something, don't attack them. Ask them, do you know the history behind that? If you don't, don't be an asshole. Just tell them that, okay, well, this is the story behind it. I'm gonna let you know the details.
That's what she did.
Yeah, I was about to say.
That's what she did, and she got attacked.
Right. Somebody asked her, do you know?
I'm sorry, I switched all that up, boy.
Like, do you know the symbol that it is that you were displaying to your many TikTok followers while you're dancing to K-pop music?
Ooh.
Like, or dancing. I'm not sure what it is that she was like dancing to, but I think K-pop was involved. And then, and then they were just like, oh, well, typical ignorant, poor, uneducated Filipino. But what is it that you were?
Because I be on TikTok scrolling, just scrolling.
Follow
and
us.
and then the thing was I've seen a lot of black creators say the same thing about Koreans. They were attacking them because they were into K-pop, and they was like attacking them because they're dark skinned or you're not cute enough. And I was like, yo, I was like, and I felt so bad because I guess that night it just they just put whatever on your page. I'm like, oh my God, like, because I guess because I watched the video or I went through and searched for it, and I started getting so many things that were about Koreans and how they were being rude and racist. And then I saw like another Korean, she was like, well, think about it, it's just them. It's not like any other race over there, not really integrated like America is integrated. It's just them. And so I'm like, yeah, but y'all got internet. Like, we got internet. So y'all gotta have to, I feel like they're gonna have to figure that out. Because I'm like, if y'all trying to like be on this internet thing and you have a plethora of people, y'all just can't be doing that. Because then you will get canceled. Because I'm like, there's more than one Filipinos all going for Koreans that night. And I was like, yo, I don't know. It could look.
I think well, first of all, don't get tattoos without doing your research.
Right, like,
let's just start there. The point being made about Koreans living in their own bubble in a sense, I suppose, but my thing is that this like black culture is so prominent around this planet and everyone uses it and loves it so much that you have to be online or you have to connect to in order to get a piece of that. So that being said, like, no matter how standoffish you want to be, y'all are always looking for this. So you can't really be that standoffish. So in a sense, like, the ignorant thing I do get to a fault. What I will say is that, yes, we need to take more opportunities overall to educate ourselves and educate each other. Because, again, like, what this one person has to go through with this tattoo, with being a Filipino versus a Korean person is what, again, equating it to myself. What black people and other nationalistic people have to do to explain their own lives to other people. So as far as canceling a whole canceling a whole nationality and culture and creed because of a lack of understanding, I think it honestly makes your culture, the one that's being canceled, it makes you look worse because you have an opportunity to bring someone into your fold. You have an opportunity to like literally educate, especially with your country being this big, half of another country. Like I assume that I would want to share and spread the wealth of my country so much more when I get an opportunity, especially when you looking foolish. Now I have an opportunity to chop you up and it's justified. I feel like that's a good enough reason to just, bring the education along. But again, I think it stems back into the question of cancel culture, how it even survives in this generation, let alone another, what it's based on, and it's reactionary. So,
I know, like, I was, like, looking up, like, the Nick Cannon situation, and he was like, instead of canceling, can we cancel? Can we do cancel culture? Can we, like, educate each other first before we was like, oh, just gonna take his whole career and just wipe it clean? It's like, yes, can we do that when we hold someone accountable, like that we know that's been doing some shit?
Did you say counsel?
Yeah, counsel culture.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
Counsel.
I was like,
as in like teaching and let's talk about it.
It's like I'm hearing the same thing.
Yeah, counsel culture instead of
Counsel.
Cancel culture, counsel.
I was like, I'm not hearing the difference.
I have a country accent. Sorry, guys.
So then that kind of leads me to like a question I really want to see what you guys think, as in, so what are some of, like, we obviously we can see some of the dangers that cancel culture can bring along, but do you think, like how you said, it's like a reactionary, how cancel culture is like a reactionary response, and how I know earlier you said how before it was like checkers and now it's like chess. I actually disagree with that, because I feel like chess, you really got to sit there and think what the person's next move is going to be, and I feel like because it's so reactionary that's not the case, but I feel like that chess is what people need to be playing. So do you think that cancel culture is kind of going to be the death of rationalized decision making?
Ooh.
May I? I want to start just to answer what you were saying. Well, first of all, I want equal time. No, I just want to say that okay, so cancel culture being the reactionary force that it is, I think, in comparison to what the question that we asked a few questions ago, in the past, in comparison to the future, I believe that in the past it was more like checkers and now it's more like chess, just because your influence and the way it follows you now is, I think it's more permanent, because the record stays with you. It's not a sense of like word of mouth where like if you leave the countryside and you go to the cityscape, now you're a whole new person. If you do that, bro, you're 2 clicks away from being right back to what you thought you escaped, you know? It's not that hard to find out who you were or where you were, but again, I think that's just because of the connectivity. But moving forward to the what's being asked now, I don't think that cancel culture is going to be the overall end-all, be-all end to critical thinking, so to speak. I do believe that cancel culture, just like the majority of trends that force us to look at ourselves, cancel culture will force a shift in perspective, which at this point I honestly cannot say is a good or a bad thing. I'm honestly mostly leaning towards bad, but I can't fully say. So I do feel like as the once great Tupac said, you don't really have to change the world, but you can spark a mind that does so. And if cancel culture has the ability to do so, then ultimately, I'm not going to say ultimately it is good, but ultimately it serves its purpose by getting us to look at another perspective and just thinking a little bit deeper. And it sucks that it takes so much pettiness to do, but at the end of the day, if the direction is in that direction and we're walking and we're turning in this direction, we're slowly but surely getting there, and that's what we need. So to answer your question, I don't think it's the end all be all, but I think I will say this: if it is not handled correctly, or if it is not, if this energy is not directed in the right way, then it can be catastrophic and disastrous, yes. But the way it's looking is hitting like a teetering turn. So I'm having faith that it turns.
Because I know, like, for us as Black people and what's happening today, I know it was like helping us to show like y'all workers are racist, and so it helped us to film and be like, y'all do your work, do your magic. Y'all see what I had to go through today, and I kept telling y'all this is what was happening, so I'm gonna put it out there. Boom. And like people were getting fired. People were like losing their jobs. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. But you knew what your actions were. So I like that aspect of it. But reaching back, reaching back like 2012, 2000, come on, y'all. Like, really, y'all are reaching back way back then just to cancel someone. And this is like more on the entertainment side. Because especially with the Kevin Hart situation, that just rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, they really want to keep it like white. They do not want this Black man to be a host. So they looked through his tweets and went all the way back to 2000 to whatever it was.
I mean, it was a part of his special. It was a part of one of the specials that he did. But he had already had a discussion with the world saying that wasn't his view anymore.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I'm like, so y'all still trying to hold this over his head after he done rectified his what his doing, what he had said, and y'all still didn't give it to him, and y'all still made him apologize.
Because it was just like, oh well, that wasn't enough for us. You had not suffered enough. You had not apologized enough for us to feel good about the situation that you did. But I'm gonna get more on that in a second. But did you want to?
I feel like it's just for some people that really indulge in cancel culture. I feel like it's sometimes maybe people doing it for the right reasons, but also they may be like, I'm not saying everybody does it, but like there is a possibility that there are people that just do it for pleasure.
Oh, for sure.
We got
You know, like
Yeah.
if it's reasonable, I will understand. But like, you know, but it's like Mailk said, but if it was way in the past and then they actually visually shown growth through that past mistake, I feel like it should be whatever. Like, everybody should be smart enough to realize that like we're all human. It's like, and to go back to what Mailk said with the Tupac quote, he said like, I may not rule the world, I may not, you know, change the world, but I want to spark the mind that does. You know, you got to realize that sometimes, granted, people make mistakes, but you don't, how can I say this? You don't really know the mental capacity or the mental things that people go through in life.
That part.
I mean, I've done stuff in the past I'm not proud of, but now that I've grown, I learned through those mistakes and I keep moving. You may not done anything you may have done something in the past you're not proud of, but you've grown in life. You learn lessons. You live. You learn. You go. You grow. You love. All of that, and that's the thing that should make you a better person in this. Canceling. For some people, they do deserve everything for them to they earn for what they did to go away because they done it in the past. But if they keep and they still doing it now, that's understandable. But like with the whole Nick Cannon situation, he clearly said he grown from that, and from what we've seen and what I've seen, in my opinion, he did. That's my thing. It's like the whole checkers and chess thing we was talking about. You know, in chess, you're supposed to trap one piece, but in checkers, you're trying to take every single thing. So, you know, I guess I understand what you're saying. Like, you know, it's chess instead of checkers, but I feel like it's now checkers instead of chess. Because chess, you're focusing on that one piece, that one thing, that one main thing. Checkers, the main objective of the game is to take every single thing so you have it all to show that I got all the proof I need here. This is all you. So I have everything I need here. So what do you have? You lose.
Well, if I'm gonna compare it to the game, I'm gonna say that it's the person who's got the least amount of money and the least amount of property in Monopoly, and they're about to flip the board over. Because in all honesty, as cancel culture continues to go on, it just looks more and more like a witch hunt because of all the bandwagoning that happens. There are people that jump on a cancel wagon,
In the heart,
and they have no idea who the person is. They just take off what the people who are doing the canceling is saying. Oh, well, they did this and this and this and this. Oh, well, that person's horrible. Yeah, cancel that person. You know, and it just kind of goes on from there. It's literally like a witch hunt, and they just go from person to person trying to find the next witch to burn. It's like, I can't remember which one you said, how, like, I think it was you, Joe, you said that they do it for an enjoyment sort of thing. It's like that. People used to love watching them burn the witches. They're a witch? Oh, yeah, we burning the motherfucker today. Yes, this is going to be great. Let's do it. They don't really care whether they were a witch or not, but they got to see somebody burn.
I would say the best way, if you really want to take out somebody famous or you feel like they should be canceled or whatever, me personally, what I learned in growing up, nothing will beat the power of silence. If they did something, guess what? Don't stream their stuff. Don't watch their stuff. Instead of going online and saying their name, guess what? You're pretty much promoting their name. Instead of just saying, be like, okay, well, they did this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to stream their stuff. I'm not going to do this, do that. I'm going to just keep moving and doing my life and keep doing me. You know, it's just more focused on like, let's destroy this person. Let's do this or say all that stuff.
This information is admissible in court, by the way.
No, but the thing is now it's like we want it taken off iTunes. We want to take it off Spotify. We want everything that they got just taken away. Like it's not like I'm not gonna listen to them. No, they want it to be stripped away. Nothing,
will not be
nada,
satisfied.
nothing.
I can't sleep at night until I know that they've got nothing that nobody can.
That you have been Regina George.
Like everything, just
But
taken away.
and I think it even.
Fugly.
But at the very least, I do believe that there is sense when it comes to it. So let's take for instance blackface. 3 different situations, right? You have one where it was a frat guy who did it like years ago, and he did blackface for Halloween. He's never gonna live that down. There's nothing, no amount of apologizing that he can do to where people will say, okay, well, you were a kid. Nothing, absolutely nothing. He would never live that down.
Yeah.
Then you have Jimmy Fallon, right? He did it way back when he was doing Chris Rock, I think.
Yes.
At the moment in time he did it, obviously, I don't want to say the black people didn't have an issue with it, but enough people were okay with it to the point to where it got on air, right? He apologized, showed his remorse. He hadn't done anything like that since, and he's, generally a good guy. So people are like, well, we don't want him to be gone, right? So he has the ability to, he said he had to apologize, and he apologized, and he was forgiven, right? Then you have a situation like Robert Downey Jr., who quite literally was put in a black face in Tropic Thunder.
that shit was funny.
He never had to apologize for that, because that was to some level, to an extent, acceptable.
Because it was a role he was playing about a white guy doing blackface and showing you how dumb it looks.
Right, but
and we knew that as black people. We was like, thank you. This nigga, he look dumb as hell right now, and this shit is funny as hell.
Yeah, and it was like there was even a time where when all this cancel culture started to get really just stupid, because they tried to go after him. They tried to go back, but all the people that were calling for his cancel were white people. And then all the black people were like, time out. We delegate what is and isn't accepted, and RDJ is okay.
Because they didn't realize that he was playing a role while playing a role.
And all they knew is that he did blackface, let's cancel him.
He's not playing himself.
It was like, Gen Z, that clickbait, I'm on it. I mean, y'all see what they did the Trump rally, Lord? Didn't nobody show up. Guess what? Because they bought all the tickets.
but so it shows that at some point that there is some sort of like way to figure out how much begging or how much apologizing someone has to do in order to be redeemed. Like with Kevin Hart, he didn't do enough. He didn't apologize enough. He didn't say how sorry he was or how different he was from what he said. We need to hear it again.
Nick Cannon did not apologize.
I feel like just people want to do that just to see like a celebrity be humbled, quote unquote. Sometimes it's like,
that's a fact.
It's real. It's like, you see a celebrity doing all that stuff, and some people sometimes people be like, oh, I see a celebrity be like, yo, I just feel like he full of himself and all that stuff and all that, and then they apologize for what they did, and then they're like, that's not enough. It's like they want the celebrity to like come through their front door and gravel at their feet and apologize. I'm like, you're doing too much. Like, it's crazy.
I agree that I've seen and felt the energy of people who want other people to suffer because they've once suffered for something that they've done in the past. And honestly, it doesn't have to be related at all.
Right.
I could literally have done something where, let's say I wronged somebody, whether it be I called them a bad name, or maybe back in the day, me too'd somebody or whatever it is. Like, I don't know, let's just say something happened. While I had to, I got caught for what I did, or I had to be accountable for the decisions that I made at the time, and whether it affected my job or my career. Let's say it affected my money and my relationship, two things that you really need in your, adult life. Let's say they were both dashed away from me. Now I'm broke. I mean, I can still pay my bills, but I'm broke and I'm single and I'm just miserable. On the flip side, a Matthew McConaughey or I don't know, Ezra Miller, someone comes along and they do the same exact thing, and they pretty much get it swept under the rug because they were a Golden Globe nominated, or Emmy winner, whatever. In a sense, you being the little guy, in a sense, you kind of want to make sure you still have that power. You want to make sure that, if I'm getting chopped up for this, then why are these guys getting away from it? Oh, is it the money, or is it what makes you any different? What makes you any different from me? And so in that regard alone, again, in a reactionary force, although you may think that, it makes more sense to me to do this and this, you don't realize that at the end of the day, there's nothing happening in this instance. As the Trident Hence administrations have shown us, arguing over a situation doesn't do anything but cause more confusion. So let's educate each other and ourselves. So that leads me to my next thing, which is, if there was anything you guys could take away from this particular conversation for the people, what would it be?
I would like for people to, like you said, educate themselves, not just go to clickbait, not just like, oh, she said or he said. Like, do your own research first. Like, just do your own research, and like and put yourself in their shoes. Like, if you were like, if this was your job on the line and you did something, like said something in your past and like you already talked about it and somebody brought it up, wouldn't you want to defend yourself and be like, well, I already talked about this and I've grown from this. What else you got to say? Because my past is my past. That's who I was. That's not who I am today. Like, wouldn't you want to have your stance to do that? Or do you not want to like not have that at all? Because for cancel culture, in my eyes, you can't even say anything about none of that, what I just said. I feel like they don't even give you the opportunity to even explain yourself. So I feel like some people need to explain themselves. Even some people have and did a video and everything is still, nope, she's still canceled. No. It's like, yo.
Just like the witches.
It was like yo, like for real, like we're not progressing. We're not a progressive state. Like, we're not progressing. That's not progressive. And y'all trying to say that we're progressive. We're not. That's not progressive, guys. That's not okay. And that's not helping. It's not being there for people. We're supposed to be down for each other. No, that's not. So I just want people to, like, be more empathetic. Like, think about if you were, like, for real, like, if you were in their position, what would you do?
I feel like Queen Shay just said it, bro. Like, it's pretty much, it's like, I'm piggybacking on what she said, It's like, if they moved on from what they did in the past and they still doing whatever, they still doing what they're known to do, like, not bad wise, but like their profession, and then somebody brings up that old past, is pretty much like, why would you waste your energy? If it was something that they already talked about and it was already settled and everything is good, why are we going back to it? But if it's something major or maybe something illegal, understandable. That's gonna be handled. But like the whole Jimmy Fallon situation, that was crazy, but moved on. So I just feel like people who really, 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 really like indulge in cancel culture, like just like not even for the actual reasons, but just for the hell of it, just for the gratification, just for their personal solity. I feel like they really need to just stop. Get off the social media, get off your phone, get off your computer, take a look in the mirror and see who you really are. Are you really that perfect person are you really that perfect A1, 100% clean, never did anything person to really, like, just go on with something like that? You know, because me personally, like, us, we mind our business and we keep it moving. You know what I mean? And everybody here in this room, I know for a fact, if we mess up, me and myself included, if we mess up on something, we'll be like, oh, that was on me, my bad. Nothing, it's my fault. And be like, okay, cool. You know, it's just enjoy, just go out and run. Enjoy the sunlight, man. Like, you know, like,
Go outside.
like, let it be for an official, legitimate reason that something should be said. Like the R. Kelly situation, something should be said. The Harvey Weinstein situation, something should be said. But like canceling people just because like they did something you don't like and it's not that major of a deal. Get your life together. Like, let's grow.
What are those people called that have the fake accounts and then they just go troll everywhere?
Trolls.
I know. No. There's like a specific for their page. There's a specific name for that, not just trolls.
Bots?
What else? That was
Bot pages.
I forgot what it's called, but no,
slander accounts.
basically there are slander accounts. but like, is there like, did Catfish ever do like they need to do like finding trolls? Because I definitely got into it with a troll before. And I clicked on their page, like they had no friends and all that stuff. I'm like, can they start catfishing these?
I mean, it's not necessarily catfishing. I think it'd be a hilarious show.
That's what I'm saying.
It'd be like,
They
oh,
need
so
to-
you a keyboard warrior. I'm in your face now. What you gonna do?
Keyboard warriors. Is that the term you was looking for?
Probably.
No, it was a whole nother.
Because
name,
there are
I feel
people
like.
who will talk all sorts of big and bad on the keyboard and say their thoughts, and they got all the confidence in the world, but when it comes to telling it, like it's different when you gotta face it. It is way different when you gotta face it.
And I want that to happen. Like look,
keep
our generation, we pull up on you because, shoot, I know a couple of years back, this girl was
Like
typing it up, and then homegirl pulled up to her job, and she got beat up at her job.
it's like when
So
it's like
that's
there's
our culture.
like there's a difference between screaming at your phone, I want to cancel your livelihood, and telling somebody to your face, because of what you did, I'm going to make sure that you starve, that you and your family starve. That's a whole different thing. It's different when you see in the face of, I mean, whether what they did was right or wrong. Like it's a whole different thing again when you gotta face it.
True.
One thing really quick before I go, I want to say that I would like for the people to remember that yes, empathy, like you said, is a really important part of dashing away cancel culture. Responding to things instead of reaction, taking the time to respond instead of reaction. Empathy, response. There was another R. Research. Yes, taking the time to research instead of just jumping in and just taking whatever you can take and making whatever you can make out of it. At the end of the day, cancel culture, again, it's emotional. I say go for it, but at the end of the day, you have to do the work for yourself. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your future to do it for yourself. And ultimately, like I said before, it serves no purpose to argue and disrespect people when all you have to do is take a time to just have a conversation. That's basically it. Yeah. Anything else you want to throw in there before we call it a day?
Read a book, people.
True that.
Yeah, let's
White
just
writing.
educate each other, guys.
For sure.
All right, let's look and see what was slid in the DMs. Jada Contrell, I feel like cancel culture is needed, but I also feel like we need to be consistent with those we cancel. For example, Doja Cat. Girl, I said the same thing. Sorry. Let me get back to it. She was supposedly canceled, but every time I turn around, here she is, and the same people who cancel her is still supporting. Also, Justin Bieber. I could have sworn he was canceled because he said the N-word. But yet the same people canceling him are giving excuses and giving him a seat at the table because of recent things he's done. I feel that we need to be consistent and stick to who we cancel if we're going to continue this. Okay, so with the Doja Cat situation, she was on a whole, like, it was basically kind of like Discord with like people that want to talk about black people. And
it's like a racist,
situation. And I was like, yo, like,
we was rooting for you.
like, yo, it was like, for real. I was like, aren't you? Okay. Well, anyway, but like nothing really came of it. Like people said it, but nothing happened. I don't know anything about Justin Bieber. I don't know anything about Justin Bieber. But like, yeah, I know with Doja Cat, who else who made a verse about Doja Cat? Nas. And I was like, ooh, oopie. And I thought she was out. But then I kept seeing her and I'm like, yo, she was just, and maybe it was in her past. Was it in her past? Yeah, it was in her past.
I feel like it's just the platform that they have now.
Yeah.
You know, because like there's a YouTuber named PewDiePie, and he was on the stream and he said the N-word, and nothing happened. You know, because like bro has like over 5 or 6 million subscribers. The thing is, once you have a platform like that and you're bringing that company or whoever's representing you money, it's like a small percentage chance that something can happen.
I was about to say there was some stuff that happened. He got in some hot water for that.
He got in
hot water, but ultimately, I will agree. Ultimately,
nothing really
happened.
Like Doja Cat's song "Say So" went #1 on Billboard while all this was going on. So it's really like it's really the platform. The Justin Bieber situation, I don't recall. I may have heard about it, but I don't recall. So therefore, if I don't know anything about it, for real, I will not speak on it. But it's just the platform that they have and the system that they have. It's messed up, but yeah.
I believe that when Jada says that we, that's the first question. When you say we, who are you referring to? Anyone who is underneath the guise of canceling? Are you referring to African Americans? Are you referring to popular culture? Like, what are you referring to? That's the first question. If you're referring to black people, then I say yes. As African Americans, as historical Africans, whatever you want to say, the Moorish people, the Jewish people, the whatever, you know what I'm saying, the African diaspora, whatever you want to call us, you know what I'm saying, over the plethora of peppered around the planet. Overall, if we're gonna stand together, then yes, we'd have to be consistent on who we do cancel, but also we'd have to be consistent on why people are being canceled, why we're finally deciding to open our mouths and say something. And if we're gonna cancel people, and if it can't be socially inept. It can't be something that's just gonna be out here for the people, for the public to just pick apart like everything else. Like as Jelly said, it's a witch hunt, and we've literally seen how witch hunts go in history. The only difference is now, instead of it being physical and burnt at the stake, it's digital. You know, I agree that giving me personally, I'm all for giving people second chances. I have no problem with it. But my thing is accountability. My thing is we will no longer act like it didn't happen. we'll just accept whatever you say is your stance on it, and either we accept it and we don't like it, or we accept it and we do like it. But I feel like we never get to that final point, because we're always back and forth, and then you're against it, I'm for it, you're kind of not for it, you're against it. So now we got 5 black people in one room, or 5 people in general in one room, and half of us think they should be canceled when the other half don't, you know? It becomes, so the point goes from it being like canceled in a social sense to being like a personal preference and how I'm feeling today. It'll never be solved.
And I feel like if it was like we as black people, we wanted to know all about the Jada and
Will entanglement.
all that whole entanglement, but we not wanting to do this with people that's saying all these things like Doja Cat. Girl, your whole dad is African.
Wait, pause the game. If for a split second, y'all want to do it with Will and Jada, but y'all don't want to do it with like y'all own family members. You know what I'm saying? While we're talking cancel culture in the popular sense, we got family members out here we know doing this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Friends out here we know in this situation. I'm sorry. Continue.
Right, so I'm like, so if we're gonna be like trying to hold people accountable, let's get the whole story. Then let's go ahead and get the whole story. Doja, I need you to speak on it. I need you to talk about it. I need you to tell me where your head was at when you were talking about this. We be doing all these interviews and shit. Let's do this. Let's do a counsel. Let's do it. A counsel, or let's do this interview with Doja. Let's do this interview with Justin. Like, so where your head is at? Like, cause I can forgive you if you can reform yourself, but if you still doing the bullshit, then you gonna have to be canceled.
Like when R. Kelly had his counsel interview.
And then that shit did not go well. We saw him go through all of that, and he was still.
That was a train wreck.
That was, and you could tell he was still not. No, he still needed to be accountable because he feel like he wasn't doing shit wrong. So I guess we need to find a way to where we can see if they are still thinking this way, or can we explain to them this is why we are trying to cancel you, girl, you better get it the fuck together.
So on a side note, we low key but high key need a show called Counsel Culture,
I was gonna say,
where
that would be a great
all the
show where
all the
on the
people
chopping block.
We
comes
can
to
do
the
it.
show.
To interview, come explain yourself. You know, you just tell your story. It's like 60 minutes.
Or like a redeemable moment, like what you call it used to do when they if it was like a flop and they was like, oh, let's do it again. What was his name? It was like a white dude, and they would like laugh at people that fail, and they was like, oh, let's
What
do
was
it
the
again.
show?
I can't remember the show name.
I'm like, he's a white guy.
Yeah, it was like on empty. It was like late at night. It was funny. They would like. It was almost like America's Funniest Videos, but it was like
Ridiculousness.
I think it was ridiculous.
Rob Dyrdek.
Yeah, he was like, "Let's redeem yourself." Is that the one?
Oh, so sometimes he would have like a segment to where
Yeah,
they would
come
like
and
if
do the
they
trick.
messed up a trick, he would say you can come and do the trick again and see if you can do it.
Right.
So yeah, ridiculous. Sometimes he would have that
would do
segment.
that
Not all the
segment.
time, but yeah, sometimes he would.
Yes. So I'm like, yes, come redeem yourself. Please, let's talk about it so we can see where your head at. Because then when you keep talking, make you feel comfortable and all that stuff. You keep talking, we're going to hear you. We're going to hear what you are saying for real.
You know, I agree. Like with Mailk, I understand like with the whole second chance thing, but also I say it just depends on what the situation is.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely, it depends on what the situation is. Like if you go on a racist rant and everything, and then you try to apologize, I ain't gonna buy it. That should be
Especially if it's recent.
But
Now,
but I
back
understand.
then,
Like
I
if
need
it's
to
something
talk
simple,
about it.
but if it's something simple or whatever, then yeah, I get
Because
it.
what was it? Who was it? Liam Neeson?
Yeah.
Who went on his little racist rant, you know, when
You say what kills him, yeah.
yeah, he's like I just wanted to kill a black person just because my so and so got assaulted by a black person and I didn't care, and just, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like when it comes to cancel culture, once they come out with the whole like, I'm sorry, I need a second chance and like, excuse me. If you're willing to come out and ask for a second chance, in my mind, that's implicit of an apology, which means you were wrong. So for me, my thing is like the admission of guilt. Like, and which leads into the accountability, and that's what's important. At the end of the day, whether you do it again or not, it's not up to us. We can't do anything about it. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, if we cancel you or not, if your checks are still clearing, it doesn't matter if we cancel you or not. You're still gonna get paid. Someone's still gonna hire you for this situation. So at the end of the day, I think what really matters is when it comes down to the final decision of how everything is made. We as the people, it ultimately falls on us to make that decision and for it to not be so theatrical. I think that's what it is. We have to focus on the point at home when it comes to cancel culture, like we've been saying, which is the accountability. All this extra fluff, like, you can honestly miss me and you can continue to miss me. As long as you're being held accountable, what happens outside of that is between you and your fans and whatever you want to allow your career to be. But my thing is, if you said that, if you were man, as my mother would say, if you were man enough to do it, you should be man enough to get through it. Bottom line. Bottom line.
Thank you guys for coming through here for the Forecast Podcast. We appreciate you guys for coming for episode 2. So episode 3 is coming soon. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, all the jazz. We always tell you after our videos because that's YouTube law. And it is your boy Joey,
Reshea,
Gumby.
And Jelly.
Hey.
and we appreciate you, Jellyfish, for coming through. And we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.